Welcome back to the Decent Garage, and welcome back to this series about building my dream shop here at my new house. The last video we talked about a few options we have to get some concrete poured in the shop, either dig down or raise it up, and the comments overwhelmingly suggested raise the shop up. So that's what we're gonna do. But before that, we've got to get everything graded. We've got to put our drain lines in, get everything prepped before we lift up the shop. So let's get started. So before I started filming this video, I wanted to see if this idea would even be possible. So you'll see I've started working on it just a little bit. So I cut all the anchor ties so that it's not holding the building down in this area. I dug out, what I'm trying to focus on is where there's what I would call a primary upright. So the corner, this one right here. So I dug out around there, and I've got this handyman jack that I've been using, and it's actually working. I don't know if it's gonna work for the whole building, but I've got the whole back wall up about an inch. So the plan is I'm gonna dig out a bunch more spots. I'm gonna switch from the handyman jack to bottle jacks, just to have a little more control, a little more controlled force, I guess you could say. And my plan is to go an inch at a time. So get part of it up an inch, move to another part, get it up an inch, move to another part, get it up an inch until the whole thing's up 1 inch, then go back to the first part and jack the whole thing up 1 inch at a time so that we're not tweaking the structure at all. So let's get started. I dug holes for the jack about every 12 feet, and I was sure to have the hole be right under an upright post. Making good progress here. I've got all the perimeter holes dug for the jacks all the way around, except for, no, I do, over there. I have that one done too. So I need to do a couple in here on the inside posts. The gravel on the inside is very, very compact. So I've got my hammer drill with a spade bit on it that I'm using, but I'm quickly starting to realize I should have just got all the crap out of here before I started this. And there's not a lot in here. There's a few shelves. There's a few pieces of cement board. So I'm gonna get everything out of here real quick and then continue doing those holes. I think it'll just feel much more open. I'll get the lawnmower out of here as well. And then we are almost ready to try jacking it up and see how that goes. All of our holes are dug for a jack to be in to start jacking this up. We could start jacking it up right now, but we have one more thing we need to do. I'm gonna rent a mini excavator, and I need to dig a hole for the footing for our 2-post lift, and then dig some trenches for some floor drains, a sink, and also a toilet. I wanna get all that stuff done and dug. I can backfill all the drains. We'll leave the hole for the footing open, and then we can start jacking this thing up. So I've got my master plan here with all the measurements of where I'm putting everything. I'm gonna take some measurements off of some landmarks so we know exactly where we're gonna put this footing for the lift, get it all marked out, then we'll start digging. All right, so the lift is gonna be 17 feet from the front of the shop. Right there, okay. My tape measure is broken, so that's why I'm not reeling it in. Now, off of these side walls. Okay, I've got everything marked out. Let me show you the layout. So right here you can see this is the footing for the lift. So we're gonna do 36-inch wide footing. It's over 13 feet wide because the lift is gonna be mounted at 12 feet wide. So it's almost 14 feet wide, and it's gonna be 18 inches deep, all connected with its own rebar. So it's gonna be a solid footing. Then I've got 2 floor drains, one over here, one over here. They're gonna come out this way. This is where the sink is going to be, right here. So that drain's gonna tie in, and I'm gonna take it right out the back of the shop and make my own kind of makeshift gray water septic. Back here there's gonna be a toilet, have a little closet there with a toilet, and that's gonna tie into the septic for the house, obviously, because that is black waste. So I'm either gonna trench all the way out to the front to go toward the house, or just for now, trench it out to the side, much shorter run, and then when I'm ready, I can trench it out the side all the way to the house. We'll see how much time I have with the excavator. If I've got enough time, I'll probably just run the whole trench. But that's what she looks like. I'm tempted to move this forward just a little bit more. This is 17 feet in, which means it's 23 feet from the back wall. But if you'll remember, 1, 2, 3, that's gonna stay there, and then the base rail from there is gonna be gone. So it's gonna be all open. So that's gonna be a finished wall right there, with workbenches all up in here, with a workbench on wheels that you can move around. I don't want the lift to feel like it's too close up to the front either. So we'll see. I might move it back this way a foot or two, but I've got to go get the excavator and start digging. Even the excavator had a hard time getting through some of the compacted gravel. Little update, here is the footer for the lift. It's 18 inches down, at least 36 across. In some spots it's wider, but that's perfect. I'll clean up the edges just a little bit, but I'm fine with that. We've got our trench dug for our drain lines for floor drains on both sides, and then the sink ties into it right there, and it'll go right out the back. So now what I'm gonna do, I brought the tractor over into this lean-to portion, which was kind of a miracle because it barely fit through that door. The tractor's 8 feet, the door's 8 feet, but it fit. So right here, I'm doing a septic for the toilet. I was gonna run it out that way, but it's hard to dig with this, especially when it's such compact gravel. So I'm just gonna dig that straight out along here toward the septic tank. It's a longer trench, but it'll be easier in the long run to dig, and it'll be a more direct shot at the septic tank. Things are looking good. Things are looking really good. All the trenches are dug for the drain lines. That was not too bad with our excavator. So now what I'm gonna do, and I've got some help for this, we're gonna put in all our drain lines, backfill it. Now, we also dug the hole for our footing for the 2-post lift. I have made a decision on that. Watch the video, I'll explain after you see what we're doing with it. I was lucky to have my brother come up for a week to help with the shop. My neighbor was kind enough to loan me a skid steer to help backfill. You'll notice we backfilled most of the 2-post lift footing. Don't worry, I'll explain. Everything is all compacted, ready to go. Everything's backfilled. We've got our drain lines in. We did our septic line for the toilet. Now you guys are probably all wondering, why did I dig that hole? And then why did I backfill it? So the reason we backholled that huge footing is because I did a lot more research online and I talked to a few mechanics who have built shops like this. And the information I found told me that those huge footings were very important for two-post lifts back when two-post lifts didn't have the support across the top. Now that most of them have the support across the top, many, if not all the manufacturers do not recommend even doing a footing at all. There were a lot of things I read that said the footing could actually lead to more cracking and other issues. So we backfilled most of it. We're still gonna leave about a 10-inch footing and we're gonna reinforce that spot with rebar, but we're not gonna do the huge 18 to 24-inch footing as I anticipated, and that is why. So I hope you guys are enjoying this series on building my dream shop. We got a lot of work done today. The most important thing is we proved that the building can be lifted. So in the next video, my brother's coming, we're gonna lift the whole building up and start to get insulation and rebar down. We have a lot to do. We have concrete coming in about a week. So we gotta get our insulation, rebar, radiant floor heat, a lot of little things. So I hope you're liking this series. Thanks for your support and we'll see you in the next one.